going to end yet? No, she's still going.
Yeah, she's going to be going on till like she's got the whole morning blocked off, which is fine. I mean, I'm doing what
Oh, I
many have said.
posted it.
I'm doing what many have said that sometimes you just got to go when you got to go. And I really tried looking hard. I know this is supposed to be the time that she does the members only, and hopefully that's what's going on. But from I was just watching it, and it doesn't seem like it's just still going on. So more than likely, we probably won't have a lot of people filtering in at the beginning, but that's fine. More than anything else, I was
We're
telling you,
live now, you know.
yeah, I know, I
Okay.
understand it. What I was telling you is that the whole purpose of me doing these, I wouldn't call them interview. I'd rather call them a conversation because that's really what it
Right.
is.
Love that
And
idea.
it's really self-serving. I'm
Yep.
going to be straightforward. It's self-serving because hey, Sultan, because it's me wanting to get to know you better. I know in this community we all kind of recognize certain names because they popped up frequently in some other chats,
Yep.
especially because it's such a small community when you really think about it. Hey, Ian, thank you for being here. Um, you get to recognize some of the names, but I'm always curious to know what's who or what is behind that name. And
100%.
and so that's why I'm trying to do these series. The only problem is they're not going to be very consistent and they're not going to be on a set schedule for two reasons. One, not everybody works on the same schedule.
Correct.
And
100%.
then number two is I have a revolving schedule. So which is probably a good thing because that will grant me an opportunity for people that are only available in the afternoons for
Right.
me to schedule them in the afternoons. Obviously, I'm always going to try to be respectful of people that have been doing this for a while and they have a time slot.
Yep.
But there's probably going to be a time where the only time that person and I can come together might interfere with somebody else's stream, which is no problem because the beauty of this is this gets recorded, it gets put into my playlist, and
Yep.
you can always go back and watch
Yep.
it. And but more than anything else, like I said, this is pretty self-serving. I'm going to be very straightforward because it's selfish because I want to get to know you,
Yeah.
and hopefully by doing that, some other people that are watch it or watch it later get that same opportunity, and we get to know a
100.
little bit more about who Eduardo is.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole purpose of these streams or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. Right.
People call them podcasts, people call them streams. I don't know.
The
It's just
conversation. The
it's
conversation.
yeah, just having a conversation. And the whole thing is, like I was telling you behind screen shit. I just shook the hell out of my desk. Um, it's not necessarily that we're going to talk about fish or we're going to, no, it's just conversations when you have a conversation for somebody complete anywhere. And that's what we're doing.
Yep.
So, with that said, Eduardo, thank you very much for being here with me today. I know this is not the first time that we've interacted. I've been very fortunate to be on a couple other streams with you before, but I've always found you very fascinating.
Thank you.
I like your personality. You remind me so much of a very close friend that I had when I was working at the school district, and you guys you guys are like kindred spirits because you guys are very similar in your attitude. I mean, I see so much of him in you, and
I bring him up in your life every time. I got you.
so
The one thing about having the open forum, as I think this would be like, is we'll start on topic one and then jump from there. And even though we've discussed several different things with plants and our fish and all that other stuff, and we're on a fish stream or whatever you want to call it, what's important for me is how in a daily life something can change from a Thursday to a Thursday. Last Thursday, I was in the hospital, just had my foot operated. Yesterday, I went to the podiatrist and he gave me the A-OK to travel. But let's say hello to the freaks that just walked in.
yes,
Spaghetti Nona, my Wi-Fi is bad today. Sultan, Craig's Catfish, hi, good morning. Atkins, hello, Ian. Bewizzle. Rico Stanton, thank you. You just got a super chat from Bewizzle. That's pretty awesome.
Thanks.
And Rico Stanton, say hi, peeps. Look at the two awesome peeps. Thank you very, very much. So hello to everyone. And those that come in, we'll try to catch you. But more importantly, the thing is, one of the topics that we briefly discussed yesterday on while we were texting was this a a AI chat whatever GTG,
GP.
and the really I went and saw the video with oh my god, what was his name? Bob Moss,
Moss.
guy Bob Moss from Canada. And I watched the video and I was like, what was that? That book was what? And I was like, and then we discussed about how AI is affecting the educational for the past 20 something years briefly. And, you know, like I said, you know, A1 is very helpful for a student that is an ELL student, English language learner, first time in the country, learning the English language and word structure and sound and all that kind of stuff. It helps them to learn to read and write, and it keeps them engaged. So in there, it's a good, you know, there's a good path for that, good tunnel. But the end line is, so after AI becomes better and they do the robotic AI, what do they need teachers for? We just went through a pandemic where everything was online. Gave us a gateway of what the future might be. You know, and again, look at what happened with all the teachers that, one, are leaving the profession, you know, for politics or whatever. I mean, here in Florida, last year we had 600 something positions available. We were able only to fill 400 with non-professional educated teachers, but we needed bodies in the classroom. And yet, statistically speaking, our math scores across America are on the bottom of the pile. Our reading ability is in the bottom of the pile, you know, worldwide. So we got to look at those. I'm in middle school, so I got 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. But those 6th graders were in 3rd grade. Those 7th graders were in 4th grade. They were in elementary when the pandemic hit. So they lost a year or 2 years from school, being in the classroom, getting the education with a human being, right? Even though they said we go back to school, whatever, you know, it became normalized at least somewhat this year. We had a fabulous year, but that doesn't mean our scores went up dramatically. It's going to take time. So a lot of the AI attitude or contributions may be helpful a lot, but there are other things that hell no. If I can create this particular video with Bob Moss is about someone in the fish fam who created something with way too many errors.
Well,
and
here's my take on that, and I was kind of hinting at that. Look, at the end of the day, really what it falls down to is integrity, and this is something that I've always said. It's
100%, yes.
You know, your only worth is your integrity. That's it. That's it. I mean, there's nothing else out there. You know, and I'm not just talking about this community. I'm just talking about in general in life.
Correct.
When you try to do something and do something that you didn't do and try to take credit for it, sooner or later, it's going to come around and bite you in the butt. Because not everybody, but there's going to be those people out there that are going to go, wait a minute. How can you be saying that you did this when, one, a lot of that information that you are regurgitating, because that's all it was regurgitating information. It wasn't anything that was written from experience.
Copy paste.
Yeah, it borderlines plagiarism, whatever.
It is plagiarism. I'm a teacher. I teach English. You know how many times I got plagiarized? I mean, the kids can't, during the pandemic, I got papers that were plagiarized 80, 90%. No way. Yeah. But 100% integrity. And here's the thing that I find very important is that shit needs to be called out. It needs to be called out. If you're giving any of us here in chat or any of us, you or I, if I say something that goes against every single grain of how to keep a goldfish healthy and lengthy wrong, call me out on it or question it. Oh wow, how did you do that? Or how did you beat this? Or how did you go and do that? And how did you survive? How did it survive this or that? In other words, if I'm knowledgeable of what I'm doing and I have integrity of my fish keeping, I'm going to be able to answer your questions. But when I'm reading something that is, one, copy pasted, two, not yours, three, erroneous and critically wrong. I mean, I moved 7 of my shrimp tanks inside because it was getting way too hot out here in the Lanai. I'm like, it's too hot. It's 105 degrees out here sometimes. So it's going to kill so I moved all the tanks inside. I took the kitchen table has no, I don't eat on it anymore. It has it has like 5 tanks right there just because it's cool, because it's like, it's cool. So it doesn't get hot. And also air conditioning going 24/7. So a lot of what we do, if it's going to be criticizing someone, for example, I loved what Jenna and Steven and even someone that I don't agree with in 90% of the things that come out of her mouth, Annette said, don't Dee Dee's work, a crazy lady, crazy shrimp lady, her rap is what it is. It's her reality. It means nothing. No one needs to change anything about that. I think Jessie did something with she put it on AI and she did a rock to it. You know what? Dee Dee is genuine. I know Dee Dee from what I've watched for the past 3 years with Dee Dee. She's genuine. She's caring. She is one hell of a learner. She does her own DIY. She does a whole lot of stuff out there, and she's a friend. And she pulled out that crazy shrimp lady, and I cracked up because that's exactly what we look like when we got to do stuff around the fish tank because something's going berserk. So, and I mean, if I had hair, it would be out to there. So I don't care. It brings the, Nano said something really great. It does. You're going to tell me that now we're going to have AI do what Nano did for the bull shrimp contest. I mean, that was freaking awesome.
That's where I kind of, I'm not really sure. Well, I think eventually down the road, we might not be able to distinguish real work from fake work. I mean, you can do that with video now. There's a lot of ways to be able to take words that you and I are saying right now, get clipped and re-edited to say something different that we
completely
never said.
different.
That does exist.
Yep.
Now, but as far as still some of the human traits that we have, because as humans, you do have that one thing that just can't be reproduced today yet. And when you were talking about teachers being replaced and all that, as far as maybe delivering an educational material, maybe, but there's a different element that person that's standing in front of that classroom that brings to the classroom.
That impacts the human self to another. That's never going to be able to be replaced.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
But I don't see that happening anytime soon either.
Yeah. Here's something that I find really funny. You said human. Yesterday at the podiatrist, one of the questions that's always asked when you go for the first time you go to the doctor, it says race, RACE. Would you like to take a guess of what I put there?
No, I don't. No idea. Knowing you, it was something. Yeah.
No, I put human, right? Because the next question is ethnicity. Well, I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm human and I'm Puerto Rican. They're saying I'm Afro-American, in race, Afro-American, Latino, Hispanic, whatever the hell. I don't go by that. I'm from the human race, as far as I know, because we don't know if we're aliens. So I was replaced sometimes by, my body was replaced by an alien, but at least to my knowledge, I'm human. So when the nurse got that, she just cracked up. She's like, "Oh my God, we got a funny man. Aren't you a teacher?" And I'm like, "Yep, that's what I teach my kids. You got to be you at all times." So, yeah, the human connection is what we can never ever replace. We can't replace it yet. But we have animals, we have our pets. We're solitary people sometimes that keep dogs and cats and farm animals and even other humans around, in cages and stuff. But at the same time, we have to understand that while we progress in technology, we have to remain conscious of the human connection. And there's where we, at least as fish keepers and plant keepers or child raisers, right? If we don't have that, what are we raising? I mean, our economy in general, and I'm not talking about political economy, I'm just saying our own world was created about, hey, I like your pumpkins. You want some of my melons? We can trade, right? So we traded. And that's that was the way it came. I'm just using words that people, could use as other things. But hello, what is the oldest profession in the nation, in the world, if it's not about sharing sex parts? So everything that has to do with how we connect to each other. Briefly, we also look at how something that was created not from your mind. It didn't come naturally from you, but here's an example. Funny. I'll cover the company name, but it's a menu from a restaurant. Oh, wow. I'm opening up a restaurant too. Oh, I can photocopy this and put it just like that on my menu. Like someone who goes here to this particular menu, generically made, right?
Yeah.
Is not going to question it because they're just asking how they're going to judge you isn't by what's on the menu, motherfucker. If they're going to judge you out, how good is it? Is your food better than that place that sells the exact same thing? So it's content. And this is the biggest argument that I have with teachers today is let us, the English teachers or the language teachers, teach the language. You focus on the content of your material. We'll teach the student how to learn the language you're talking, but you teach the material that you're focused on. I'm all over the place, but again, that it goes right back to the human contact, the human acknowledgement, and how we can change the world that way.
Let me answer this. I know Jay has already put a couple of comments on the artists and stuff like that, but isn't the reason that people buy artists is because you're trying to buy that person's expression of what they're putting on the canvas?
Yeah, correct.
Because even today, I can go and get a stock photo of a fish if that's what I choose to do.
Yep.
But yet, there's people like Sam Scale that's out there drawing these things, and I think I would be more in tune to buy his rendition of it because it's coming from him. So, as far as an artist, I don't know if that's really is. I think it won't change because you already have a lot of stuff out there that's not necessarily posters, just icons, all that stuff that gets made is not necessarily a artist that is doing it, but there exists. I mean, I could go there, I could type it in, get it, download it, and put it in, frame it, and put it on my wall if I chose to do that. Yep. But a lot of the times, if I go and see somebody that's doing a piece of art, and I can see that they did it there, because a lot of the times these artists will be sketching or drawing or painting while they're doing all this stuff, and they'll have their work displayed. The reason we're buying that is because we want to buy a part of their expression of what they're doing. And that, so I'm not too worried that the people that weren't going to buy that are not going to buy that regardless. The people that are buying it is because they have that appreciation for the talent, the expression, the creativity that person is putting on canvas or paper,
Correct.
whatever the media might be. It doesn't matter
Correct.
what the media is. But
100% agree.
you're buying a little bit of them at the end of the day. That's really what it boils down to.
I mean,
So,
the easier connection that you just made. The Clash last year, and Jenna, when I met Jenna and Steven and Bex and her husband, Avatar, Aviator, I forget his name right now. Anyway, the fact that I went there and I went right up to her counter and I said, "Do you have an original? Do you have an?" And she had the killifish. Wait, 3 seconds. Be right back.
Okay. That way it gives me an opportunity to say hi to the people that have just come in. Thank you guys for coming in. If you're a little confused, I don't blame you. What I was saying at the beginning of the stream was these are more these streams that I do under this category that you see them labeled as Mexicali are intended to be just a conversation. It's, we might touch on the topics of fish, we might not. The idea is for me, and it's like I was saying, it is a self-serving deal because I'm trying to get to know the person that I have invited on to be with me. So I'm trying to have a conversation where we get to know each other. And it's not oriented at any one topic in particular. So don't be surprised if you come in here and the conversation is in the middle of whatever. So, but real quick, Lori, thank you for being here. Jeff Watts, thanks for being here. Dee, thank you for coming by. Red Laser, thank you very much. Let's see, anybody else that I've missed that I haven't acknowledged? Jenna, David, Beses y Más. Oh, and just so that you're not surprised either, I will be having these in Spanish with guests that I know that are from other parts of the country that speak Spanish. I was debating whether to do this with Eduardo in Spanish. We might revisit this and do this in Spanish some other day. Yes. But don't be surprised if you jump into my stream one of these days and the conversation is full-blown Spanish. Just a friendly heads up. But you went to go grab something, Eduardo.
Yes. We were talking about the originals, right? Now, I understand that, hey, if I'm buying a print from the original artist, I'm still supporting that artist, even though I didn't get the original. But I did, I got this one. Okay. This one was sent to me. I forget who sent it to me, but it was Matt. Matt sent me this. This one I won in one of the little drawings there, but my prize is this one, the original that I got from Bex at the Clash with the authenticity in the back and all that stuff. Why? Because exactly of what you said. When I go, I want to support. I'm taking a piece of that art, and I'm taking a piece of the artist with me because it was her hand. It was the artist that created it. It was her stroke, her creation that went into the work. So I'm keeping that little piece of the artist with me. Same thing goes when I go see a show, right? A live performance. And I saw the first week of the show, and then a couple of months later, the show's over. Then a couple of weeks after that, the artist dies. I had that moment with that artist live on stage. That's my shit. I have it with me. It's up here. And if it's taped, I'll grab it or whatever. Honing in on how I appreciate an artist's creation, just like I appreciate my students when they write their own poetry, when they create something that is genuinely theirs, that's coming from the life source and life living that they have come with, not just young, but all of them. And I think there is where, the artist in me is always grabbing out and all that stuff. And I appreciate the simplicity of the complexity of the artist. So AI can live on and we're going to be dead.
Yeah.
But if we can grasp that moment of artistry for our personal gain and our personal acknowledgement and our personal appreciation, then that's what I'm going to do. And I feel that the more I feel, in my personal opinion, the more we open up our world and our minds to the possibilities of, except, someone created a piece of crap. Okay. And then someone creates a piece of art, which to some people, this is bullshit because they don't appreciate it like you and I would, and us in chat, we would appreciate something like this. Now, if it was the print, I still appreciate it because I know the artist, but at least I know I got a piece of her original. And the same thing goes, I mean, we're not talking Van Gogh here, but it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter.
I think it boils down to something very, very simpler than all of that. I think it's just that connection, the human connection, that connection you want to have with that person for by buying their piece of work.
Correct.
It's that. I think that's really what it boils down to. I think when we buy a piece of art, that's really what it is. It's just trying to buy a little bit of a connection with that person.
Bringing that, not only that, it's having that that connection. Having that connection is, to me, the most important. Same thing with music, by the way. Same thing with music. Yes. People always, my best friend, he taped me 15, 16 years ago while I was at the beach in Puerto Rico. And, I had all my blubber out and I had my little thingy on and I'm singing some song of Lady Gaga. And I'm going like, I'm in the middle of a heat wave with the water in front of me. I don't give a shit about the naked people around me. And I'm going crazy because I'm loving her music. It hit me where I needed, where I was in my life. So nothing else really goes crazy about connecting with someone through music, through their art, through their conversation, through our hobby, through our little nicks and crannies, even the crazy shrimp lady, Dee Dee. There's a lot of us out here that are, I don't want to say the word fanatics because that's not a word I would use, but connection, it's like am I a fanatic about my fish tank? No, I'm not a fan, but I love what they do with me.
Passion.
Yes, it's like I'm looking on this tank over here, and all these little fishies are swimming on there. Where the hell they come from? And I have females in there, so I guess they're having babies. The vampire swordtails. So everything is a gift. Everything is a gift. Being hospitalized for the first time in my life, being away from my personal environment, spending a fortune a night, living with some crazy guy on the other side of my bed, in the split, we had to share a room, and paying $1,200 a night and not getting my foot massaged or getting my body wiped down by stunning people with the little rub downs and shit. No. I was is like, what the hell am I doing here?
That's a different place and you pay a little bit more.
Whatever. I'm just saying we never know what tomorrow is going to bring.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and that's what I'm always, I say now because, hey, look, I look at things the way they are. I've been very fortunate to live now going on 52 if I make it to November. But I am a realist. I'm not going to live another 50 years.
We never know. We never know. You never know.
The stats are against me living to 100. Right. So from this point now, and I know how quickly 50 went by, like that. It was just, a batting of an eye. I go back and I go, that was 8 years ago? How was that 8 years ago? I remember that like being like a week ago.
I know. Shut up. You're still a baby.
Well,
I turned 60, and I'm like, I've never said I turned a certain age as many times as I said this year that I turned 60 because I cannot effing believe where did the 60 years go?
Yeah.
I've lived, I've traveled, I've enjoyed life. I've suffered very little in life because, evil people don't suffer as much as good people. But you know, it's sort of that kind of thing. And it's sort of like, I can't believe it that the age is catching up. You know, when I told the doctors, and I, by the way, it was kind of cool to be in a hospital where they had interns, because the doctor that I had 5 or 6 interns, some very stunning people, tall, you know, a little short lady, a young lady, you know, all poking me and feeling me up. And, you know, it felt kind of good. Anyway, the thing is, and early in the morning, like at 6:30, everybody's waking you up. And, you know, anyway, so it was kind of fun. And, you know, I kept my jubilance up there. It wasn't like, I'm depressed. What the hell are you doing here? Get out of here. Ah. No, I wasn't there. I was more like, hey, how you doing, Dr. Perez? Hey, how you doing, Glitchy? Or how you doing, Bob? Anyway, and the nurses, fantastical. You know, having a nephew and his wife as a nurse in our family, I never really appreciated the nurse as much as I did this past week. Mariah, shout out to you. Vanessa from Venezuela, shout out to you. They were so congenial, so helpful. They gave me things and brought me things and made sure I was doing good, make sure I was good, make sure that I was comfortable, and made me feel like it's going to be okay. And it made me feel healthier just by them. Let me tell you, the doctors, there is no such thing as a Grey's Anatomy in a real hospital. That shit, the nurses themselves will be the first ones to tell you that's bullshit. But the nursing are really our unsung heroes. You know, they're unsung heroes, because being in a room that you're not comfortable with, first of all, ugly curtains, and shitty bed sheets, and, you know, uncomfortable bed, but they made you feel at least comfortable. And being the first MRI, I mean, they made me get naked. Everybody in chat, just imagine me naked, all naked, but with that little tiny little gown they put on with snaps in the back. Anyway, and then I go into the MRI, and I'm saying, why do I have to be naked? They're just gonna take a MRI of my foot, and literally, imagine this is my whole leg, this is my foot, this is all that went into the MRI. So why from this point that way I had to be naked?
Because it costs money.
But just with the dot, I'm like, yeah.
Well, they had to charge you for the robe.
I didn't take that robe home. They go clean it.
Well, no, so you don't take none of that stuff home, but you get charged for every single piece of thing.
Everything. I was like, and I literally told the MRI person, I said, why the hell did you demand that I get naked when all that was going in there was just my foot? She goes, I never said that. Well, that's what the nurses told me. They ain't gonna lie to me. So, you know, and then when I went for the foot operation, before they knocked me the hell out, because they knocked me out, you know, just to go. I guess they were. I told them I'm ticklish. So if you're gonna work on my foot, you better knock me out, because I don't want to feel nothing. Because I will definitely kick whatever you have in your hand, the scalpel, right through your nose. So this is
why they do it, because you know, it is a big magnet that they're putting you in. So they just want to make sure they don't have any incidents, that you don't break the machine. They're not too worried about you.
I agree. Well, they did ask if I had any piercings anywhere. Did I have any body surgeries? I'm like, if you read my chart, sweetie, this is the first time I've ever been in the hospital. So I had no bone structure created, and I got no piercing. Okay. And even if I did, I would have removed it before being in, you know, once they said you got to go to the hospital, you got to remove all that stuff. You can't trust people anymore. They'll tell, you know, they'll take your, what the hell is that called that you put on the penis? Anyway, they'll take all that rod stuff. You know, you got gold piercings all over your face. They do it. Whatever. You leave all that stuff at home. You leave your personal shit at home when you go to the doctor. And again, I went to a clinic to check on my foot, and that doctor sent me straight to the hospital. I didn't even have a chance to go home. I mean, it was like clinic, straight. That's it. And, I was like, I didn't, Kevin, who was there, he took I said, you take the only thing I'm going to keep is my phone. Everything else, I don't need a wallet. They don't need to identify me anymore. Everything's already on record. Take my wallet, take my credit cards. Luckily, the day of the surgery, what's that called on the phone? Apple Pay. I had to eat before 8:00 in the morning. So luckily I had Apple Pay, and then I had to download Uber just to get food before 8:00, because if not, I wouldn't be able to eat, because breakfast arrives at 8:00 and I had to eat before 8:00 because I was having surgery that afternoon. Anyway, let me take a breather. Anything else? What's going on in chat? What are they talking about?
Oh, they're talking about you and no clothes.
That's all they picked up on? Me being naked?
Yeah. No, they're just talking about why they ask you all these questions and make you
I believe one of these years was Pierce back in college, but I mean, I can still probably go through the whole, because
I have both of them,
once you've been divergenized. The whole just, it gets a little crowded.
Yeah, I thought it was cool when I was younger and I had both of them Pierce. So, but now I don't know. I could probably push one, push them through, but at this age, I don't think so.
And yet, some of the things that, again, my unsung heroes, and when I told the podiatrist yesterday, when he rewrapped my foot, he unwrapped it, and he saw it, and he says, "Looks good, super dry," and that's a good thing, because nothing's spewing, there's no infection, nothing like that. So he took me off the antibiotics and all that stuff. But I told him I'm going to York, Pennsylvania tomorrow, and that I need what he used to unwrap me and rewrap me, because I have two nurses that are going to be doing that while I'm in Pennsylvania. My nephew, which I love, Carly, and his wife Laura. So she works for the VA, and he's a pediatric nurse, and he's a type 1 diabetic. We were both diagnosed at the same year, 1995, as diabetics. Me a type 2, him a type 1. So it's sort of kind of like we have that in common. So it's sort of like and he was like, sure. And he gave me a list of all the materials and whatever little that little gel he put that's made out of honey. And once I get to Pennsylvania, Sis and I will go to CVS, put the order in, and have it in so that it can be switched. They don't get there until Tuesday or Wednesday, but it don't matter, and I'll be taken care of. So learning, and they're working 12-hour shifts. The nurses that I'm talking about, they have 3 days working 12-hour shifts. That's amazing. Here I am complaining that I work, working 9 to 4.
Sorry.
And they're working 12-hour shifts, and they don't make the kind of money we make. So, which is crap considering we're in Florida.
Yeah, I know, but
honey gel, yes. Thank you, Nona. Yep. And luckily, look how good the nurses were. You see any scars on my arm?
From the IVs?
From the IVs. That was the only jewelry I was allowed to wear. And I kept saying to the doctors and the nurses, when is this jewelry coming off? I didn't choose the coloration, and that thing was, but I still feel the sensation, but no, you see no black and blue, even when they drew blood everywhere. I mean, there's one here that she poked. It's kind of blacky. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, that one. And I said, don't be poking inside my arm. You poke on the outside. You see my veins. Look at this motherfucker. Look at this one. I mean, that one goes all the way down to my. Anyway, literally, you can take blood anywhere. Why are you going where there's no vein at? I was like, Oh, and not to mention my poor fingers. They poked my fingers 4 or 5 times a day, and every day I said, use it. I would tell the same CNA. Choose a different finger. Don't choose the same finger. One chose the same finger 3 times in a row, and the effing picked the same hole 3 friggin' times. I was like, you don't have to poke no more. You have to just look at it. It'll bleed for you, woman. Right. For my blood.
Also, they didn't have to pierce your fingers anymore to get blood tests.
Well, they did.
Glucose.
Yeah, this is Florida. We're ass backwards. But yeah, they did. But I mean, that was a stay. It was a nightmare of an experience. Don't ever want to have happen again. Oh, shut up, Rico Stan. We're not talking about that kind of hole. Anyway, he's such a sick old man.
I need to get him up here.
Oh yeah, right. But the point about that is, it's not painful. It's just I don't like any foreign object in my body. Am I making myself clear? I don't like any foreign object in my body. None. And then having that invasion, all the needles, all the poking, the stabbing, the slicing, the cutting, that does stuff to your head. Oh man, stop. No, he's taking up on the words. You are such a dirty man. Anyway, but again, going to our point of how technology it's advancing and creating somewhat of a help, there's also the flip side. I don't know what it is. Why can't we have
it's like everything
all
else.
The way? I mean,
even though it's a tool and it's a very useful tool, we're humans at the end of the day. And there's going to be somebody who's going to try to use whatever technology, whatever is out there, to do less for more. So, but that's just human nature. And I don't know if it's a generational thing, because I think today's kids are growing up on all of this just being the normal standard. But I remember when we had to manually write our reports.
Yeah,
and
now
I know it was
no writing.
I know it was an issue for teachers sometimes to read them, but it still forced you to be able to put your own thoughts onto a piece of paper. Yep.
When they took writing cursive out of the curriculum, I was like, why would you do that?
Oh, I got a theory on that.
Why would you do that?
That's
sorry.
That would be considered conspiracy. Can't speak
sorry.
this morning.
Somebody from Campbell, California is calling me. I don't know. You know anybody from Campbell, California? Yeah, me neither. I don't know what it is. 669 number. The thing is that when we go into the depths of technology, how it's helping us out in the medical field, in the science field, let me say, in the educational field, in our construction field, we have buildings that were built centuries, oh my God, thousands of years ago, still standing. And yet, the newer buildings, somebody goes like this, and they collapse.
Yeah.
So
but that's a whole other different animal, because the building requirements are still there. It's what corruption.
Not in Florida. They lowered those standards too. Well, but go on.
It's not even that. But the problem with Florida is a lot of the times, and it all boils down to somebody paying somebody else to look the other way. A lot of the areas where they're building, they know they're sitting on potentially not solid ground, because that's why you have so many sinkholes out there. Correct. And a lot of times they know because they do geological studies. How can they not know? It's just, sometimes they'll figure it's not going to happen until maybe 50 years down the road. They figure they're not going to be around and take the responsibility.
Correct.
But going back to the whole thing with cursive, and this is just my take on it.
Yeah.
And it could be crazy or whatever, but I think the reality is it's a way that we're losing the way to be able to communicate and understand. Right. Because a lot of the important older documents are all in cursive, because that was the way of writing. And I kind of equated to, even taking it a step further, who's to say that all those geoglyphs that exist out there weren't some form of cursive, and it could have been, yeah, yeah.
You know, beautiful little note. Thank yous. I cherish this.
But it's funny because there's a generation that can still read that. You go to the younger generation, they don't understand what's on there. They might make out some of the words, or just kind of be able to contextually kind of try to define what it says on there. But I really do think it's a way to limit a section of society from understanding what is being written.
Not only that, the appreciation alone of not that far ago, women weren't allowed to read, women weren't allowed to write.
Yeah.
We had only the aristocrats who were able to be taught reading and writing, and then it became down to the people, and politics have changed everything to make us ignorant so that they could do what they want to do without us having a say in it. And I'm talking politics in the state, not just in America, but all around the world. They take powers away from the knowledgeable areas in order to make us stupid. Good example, read the book 1984 by George Orwell. They changed the narrative. Oh, no, that's not what we want to propagate. This is what we're propagating. And that became a reality in 2016. And it still continues today. It still continues today. Because I said fish. Say fish.
Fish.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't tell you to say fish. I just said say fish. Why you say fish? I said fish. And then you said fish. No, that's not what I was trying to say. Wait a minute. Now just go back 3 seconds. What the hell did I just say? I said fish. Now you say fish. You said fish. And now I'm changing. That's not what I said. In other words, it's right here live. It happened 30 seconds ago.
So let me ask you something as an educator. Yeah. What's your take on the banning of books? Whether, because I remember reading a lot of these books that have been banned. Yes. And it never really influenced me of thinking a certain way. It was just learning about a certain time period. And yes, the language could have been inappropriate, but that's what they were. That's the reality of how people spoke in that period of time.
Correct.
So,
all right.
So what's your take?
My take on banning anything. First of all, an art form, be it writing a novel, writing a picture book, whatever you want to do, we have those alienable rights. We have the right to have ourselves expressed. Whatever expression we want it, how we want to do it. So not just banning books, but banning everything that is creative. I'm 110% against banning anything. Anything. Why? Okay. So imagine if life had its way in my lifetime where they would have banned porn. Well, I never would have learned sex. Period.
I think that's more intuitive.
I mean, it would have been a natural progression, but I would have made a lot of mistakes. That's not it. Wouldn't be one of them. So to me, banning a book is like saying cutting my hands. Because I work with my hands, right? An artist works with their hands. Me, I work with my voice. I'm an actor, performer, my voice. So take away my voice, it's like taking away the ability to read. Take away my eyes so I won't be. Take away my fingers so I won't be able to read Braille. So to me, if you want to censor something for a specific group, then censor it in a way it's not banning, but allowing the educational experts, and I say that broadly, okay, the educational experts to allow a student to choose or not choose what he or she cannot. Now, everybody's saying it's up to the parents. Well, I don't know about you, George, but parents are not always there for their kids 24/7. Kids are more in school than they are at home in an adult environment, with an adult in their environment. But most of the stuff we learned from each other as children. I, for the very first time, never seen before the age of 13, at age 12 to 13, uh, a friend of mine who lived across the street when I lived in Irvington, New Jersey, handed me this magazine, which was obviously porn, but it was porn from this side up, it was a woman. From this side down, it had male parts. That kind of porn. Okay. So I would be like, what is the point of this? Why would he have this? I had no idea. So I thought women came with both things, the confusion of a child. Okay. So later in life, I learned what that meant in a negative sense, not a positive sense. Later in life, I understood what this meant. And again, my mind broadened. So banning anything that can affect a child harmfully, no. Let the child learn whatever needs to be learned at the time they need to learn it, because that's what happens. But if I was to choose what kind of book, which I do, by the way, what kind of book I'm going to teach for a particular grade, well, it's going to be grade appropriate, where it doesn't curse, where it doesn't show body parts, because it's not necessary. We can discuss penises and vaginas and pregnancy in high school. In middle school, you can touch on the subject. In elementary, kinder through third grade, we can talk about pee pee and wee wee. You know, you got to go wee wee, you got to go pee pee. You know, I'm talking about the same term, going to urinate. But I wouldn't want a kid to come up to me as they do currently. I need to go to the nurse. I need a pad. Okay. So because if they go to the nurse, you got to write out a pass, right? All I say, nurse, I don't write why. I said, nurse, here you go. And I sign it. Get out of here. I put the time. But needing to show or demonstrate to ban something,
But
no.
how much of that is not students figuring out a way to get out of class too, though?
Okay.
Because I remember
When you're
trying to
in
pull
middle
all
school,
tricks.
okay, and some of your students don't even know what's happening to their bodies. I get that a lot. 6th, 7th graders.
Okay.
But having a student come up to me, blad up, I mean, like right up to my face, I need to go to the nurse because I need a pad. Just like that. I'm like, okay, no problem. When I have that child by themselves the next time, sanitary napkin, or just say I need to go to the nurse, it is a personal emergency. I'll understand what you mean. I don't need to know the specifics. When I'm asking questions and one kid raises his hand and says, can I go to the bathroom? The question was, what part of Uranus is cold? Science, not Uranus, your butt. So, and they got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, I have a constitution, right, that they have to sign. One of them is, if you have to use the restroom, all you do is go like this. And if I look at you and go like that, you go. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know. I need to go pee. I need to go to number 2. I don't need to know that. Just go like this. Raise your hand, go like this, and I know where you have to go. And I have a pass, and you have to sign in and you have to sign out. That's on you. Now, like you were saying, how much is it to just escape from the room? Well, they get 3 a week, 3 a month. And if it's the same student during the same period, by the 3rd time they sign out, they no longer get permission. And all of a sudden, they don't need to go no more. Interesting. So now I'm a diabetic. So I have lunch, right? And after lunch, I have 3 consecutive classes, 5th, 6th, and 7th period. By 6th period, at the end of 6th period, I got to go wee-wee. I got to go number 2 or number 1, I mean, and I can't leave them alone. So I have to hold it in as much as I can. When the bell rings, I exit out. I kick them all out. I exit out, close the door, go to the bathroom real quick. And then run back in, and the bell rings and they're going in. Should we really be doing that to your body? No, but it's what we do as adults. We got to hold it or whatever. I mean, the one thing AI can never take away from us in the human sense is a student raises their hand, they got to go. You got to go. And I tell them this, when you got to go, you go. Right? When you got to go, you go. Don't wait for me. If you got to go, you go. Because the last thing I want to be dealing with is that stuff in my classroom, because that will interrupt my whole process. Right? Selfish, but at the same time, I don't want that happening I don't want it to happen. I don't want it to happen. So that human contact can never be missed. And I think back to the point of banning books. I don't believe in banning someone's speech, someone's art, or someone's ability to communicate freely. What is that called when the person has that the inability to control the curse words? It's a name for it.
Tourette's.
Tourette's, right? Tourette's, right? It happens. I have modified curriculum students in my classroom. One in particular had the audacity, 6th period drama. This was him. 15 minutes into the classroom. And all I said to the class is, and they all called out his name. And he would wake up. Oh, what? What I missed? What I missed? He was gone. Modified curriculum kid, 6th period. It's been a long day. That's what happens. Well, I just go like this, and they all call out his name, and he wakes up. I don't wake him up, but I see him in the back. So you have them all. And someone might say, oh my God, that's so cruel. No, he's not. He learned not to fall asleep. All he said, he came to me. He goes, it's not because it's boring. It's not because of this. It's because lunch, when I eat, I get sleepy. So I went to his modified curriculum teacher to confirm that. Of course, I looked at his IEP. Doesn't say that. So I said, it needs to be added to the IEP that might happen. That's a great point. All of a sudden, stops. Because if he fell asleep, he probably had a heavy lunch, and he needs his 15 minutes of beauty sleep. I mean, he wasn't the most prettiest person in the world, so I'm sure he needed beauty sleep. Remember, they're young. I mean, look how pretty I am. I slept a lot when I was young. Now I could care less. But, it's sort of like that. Yes, Jenna, you have to give grace. You do. You have to give them that moment. But also remember, laws are laws. We're governed by laws. If a student sleeps in your class, you got to find out why. Because if you allow it to happen and they're on medication, it's improper, or all that, they come back to you. They come back to the teacher. Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? It's all on us. So you bring it up in the IEP moment, boom, there you go. And I think most of the time when we think about taking away something from anyone, like The Catcher in the Rye, The Great Gatsby, 1984, or any of the books that I've read throughout my whole life and as a career as a teacher, and now I can't use them, you're going against the grain of knowledge, period. To me, in my vocation, because I don't call it a job, this is my vocation. I love what I do. I'm there to teach the student everything I know about the subject, everything I know about the craft, everything I know about the skill, in order for them to become better human beings, in order for them to know what I know, and then when they go to the next class, learn more from the next teacher up, period. You know, I've taught everything from kindergarten to high school and college, and now training teachers. And everything that comes out is about where are you and where do you want, where are you now and where would you like to be? And set that goal personally for myself. I do it for myself, but for those teachers and those students, I said, we're starting here in August. Where do you want to be in December? Where do you want to be in June? Where do you want to be in knowledge? And what do you want in speech, in capacity, in understanding of a second language, in understanding what it is to memorize a whole entire persona for a play, you know, or how to learn to dance or how to do a TikTok dance into a performance. That is all my skill, you know, in my toolkit that I'm bringing everything in there. How to do makeup. Dee Dee has a picture of me in a wig that I gave it to her yesterday, and a female wig, not a male wig. But it's about turning into someone else. Learn who they are, and then you can become that person yourself. It's not about plagiarism anymore. It's about the complement of a human world, a human life, in sort of that thing. A lot of people have to have highest authority in school system. So removed completely, 100%, Jenna, 100%. So that's how I see it there. So
one thing
banning
that was
books,
fast.
totally against it.
One of the things that was fascinating based on that comment that Jenna made is that there's a lot of administrators out there that had never set foot in a classroom as a teacher. They have they. I was always under the impression that everybody that became an administrator had gone through the process of becoming a teacher, teaching classes, building a curriculum, and the next step up above that was to become an administrator.
Yep.
I was so surprised the short time that I did spend working at the high school district that all it is a piece of paper that says you took some courses at a college, you got your master's degree, and now you can be an administrator.
Right.
How can you be so far removed from understanding what it's like to be a teacher?
Yeah.
If you've never had that experience, to be able to understand what they're dealing with in the classroom. I think it should be a requirement if you're going to become an administrator that you have spent a minimum amount of years in, well, it's not the trenches, but in the classroom.
Well, you can call it the trenches because that's exactly what it is for someone that's new. But here's my argument to that, not against it, but with that. When I walked into the classroom 26 years ago in 1997. Damn, 1917. All right. In 1997, I walked in as a drama teacher of 8th graders without a single credit in education, but I had a degree in drama and English. Okay. So I had to teach drama to 8th graders in a language I didn't dominate, which was Spanish. I knew it, but I didn't dominate it. But I went in, I fell in love with it. I mean, I had close to 300 and something students in my 8th grade class. 5 classes from 64 to 82 to 72 to 56 to 58 students in 5 periods. Okay. Then I had a whole district thing to do with a completely different subject. Anyway, so that year I became, oh my God, learning how to control a group of students, class management.
Yeah.
It happened. Then the following year, I went and I got hired as a kinder to 3rd grade English teacher. I was like, okay, this shit needs to be trained. So I went into a program to learn to get an ESOL master's degree in education, to concentrate on ESOL, which took about a year to do. So there's where my degree came from, ESOL, as an education. And then there I had to learn the nitty gritty of what this do, what I got to do with it, how the grades are being performed, all that stuff. I gave ABC. That's all I did in drama. But in English, kinder to 3rd grade, I had to work it. And I needed to learn how to speak to a child. You know, a kindergarten kid is not the same as an 8th grader. Okay. An eighth grader is not the same as a high school student. So I went through the gambit. And then when I finally got from that school, I went to a school from kindergarten to ninth grade, where I was there for 7 years. There, I taught English and drama together. So, and I had kindergarten kids, I had third graders, I had sixth graders, I had ninth graders, I had them all. And I don't want to say expert, but I definitely honed in on my ability to understand the different aspects of the grade. And the funny thing is, the kindergarten kids wanted to be in third grade with drama. The third grade kids wanted to be in sixth grade with drama. So I had repeat students, every 3 years, which became so much better. By the time they were ninth grade, they were experts. I didn't do nothing in ninth grade. I was like, okay, what you gonna do? Okay, there you go. So all of a sudden, knowing that the number one thing you have to learn quickly is class management. Yeah. And everybody and their mother that I trained, and I was in training last year, that was the number one issue. A lot of teachers in the district were hired just to be a body in the classroom. They had no experiences. So it's hard because if, let's say you've never had an experience in education and you were the first period teacher, I get the kids during second period. They are not under control. You don't have group control. And then I'm the one that has to set all the rules. So it's double on me, which is okay because I have that in my toolbox. But the first thing I'm going to do is pull your ass and say, here's what you need right now. Number one, forget about where, are the kids going to make their test? You don't need to worry about them making the test. You need to make sure you teach content. And you're not able to teach content because you don't have group control. So I have that conversation with you. Come to my class, learn, watch, have routines, have, like Jenna said, that time for that student. You do not bring up the whole class and say, okay, class discussion. And then that one kid that keeps bringing up a point that you don't like, you don't address it. Well, he may have that one question that all the other 32 students in the class have, but he's the only one asking. And you're not addressing it. Address it. Address it. No, I think I said this earlier to you. There is no such thing as a stupid question. Yeah. There's one that's a pissy question. And they're just trying to challenge the teacher. But then if you as a teacher are being challenged by a teenager, what does that say about you? So
now, going back to the whole education systems, because I've been fortunate living that I am on the border. I've gotten to see how Mexico does their scheduling for classes and the way they do it here in the United States.
Yep.
And one of the things that I've noticed is that we do the same thing, but we don't do it until you start getting into college.
Yep.
The bigger blocks of instruction where it allows the teacher to really get into more nitty-gritty stuff. Because
correct.
Realistically, especially, I don't understand why they don't do that with younger students, because as a teacher, it takes you a while. It's got to take you at least 15 minutes to get the kids under control, to be able to get them to where you're going to be able to get into the lecture. Maybe a little bit less. But that's time that's taken away from an already really short period of class, of block of instructions. And half the time, and I'm not saying maybe first to third grade, that might not be the case, because sometimes you need to keep them on a different subject so that they don't get bored.
Right.
But I'm talking about once you start getting into the upper grades, why not do that?
Well, the good thing about the program that I'm in, I have them for 2 periods. Okay. First and second, fourth and fifth. Okay. In the English language learning course. What happens is my job is to get them out of my class as quickly as possible. They got to learn how to read, speak, understand, and write English. Once they do that, they move on. But if they don't, if I had them in 6th grade this year, I'll have them in 7th grade next year. And if they don't move on, then I'll have them again in 8th grade the following year. So I'll have them for 3 years, same subject, for 2 periods each. So there, and also if I have them for 3 years, I'm not doing my job. Number one.
Yeah.
The point is, take them out of my sheltered program and into regular English or ELA English where they can move on. That's my point. But once we do have 2 periods, which is about 90 minutes total, 45 minutes back to back. So to me, it's super important to have them a longer period of time. For one, you have to teach writing, reading, understanding. What's the other one? I forgot. Reading, writing, understanding, and speaking. Okay? I got to get to all of that in 1 period? Hell no. I can't do that. I could do it in 2. I do it in 2 because I break them up in groups, right? Within the classroom, which I'm supposed to have like 15 to 20 students. I have 35 and 32, but I have a pretty big room. Thank you. Knock on wood. I break them up in groups, and I'll have that student that's still a level 1 learner, but understands and grasps the instructions better, and they can help the other students in the group. So I have that in the classroom, and I also have a tutor. This year I'm going to have 2 tutors, two tutors. Yeah. So that I'm letting it be known that I agree 100%. The longer the student is with a teacher, I think Jenna said that as well in chat.
Yeah.
The students, one, get to know deeper the subject because they know, and of course you're a really good teacher in your gifting of knowledge. Because if you're an asshole teacher, please, I want to get out of there 5 minutes after I walk in. Cutting comes in a lot, and I think that's the way to see it go.
You know, even that, I think there's still a value in that lesson because it teaches you how to deal with people you don't like or you don't agree with.
100%. 100%. Let me answer this. Alishan, yes, I'll be there from tomorrow until July 9th. So I'm going to be there a whole weekend, a couple of days. So in Pennsylvania. The BCA's also. I'll be at the picnic on Saturday, that's for sure. But yeah, I think the longer you're with a student, and I've had kids that I had in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. You know, in journalism, in drama, not in English, but in journalism and drama, they can because it's an what's it called? It's an elective. They can choose it all 4 years. And let me tell you something. Those kids that I had in 9th grade in journalism, by the time they were in their senior year, they were the teacher. All I did was sit back and hand out the lessons. Literally, because they became the editors, they became the publishers, and what is it that we were supposed to do again? Teach them how something gets done and have it made. So 100%.
Hey, look, let me take a real quick break. I'll be right back. If you want to answer some of the questions.
Let me read some of the chat while you're gone. All right, go ahead. Go do your wee. Well, anyway, thank you very much. We've been on for about an hour and a half now, or about an hour and something. You just wait. There will be a day you can't hold it. Oh, be quiet, Didi. I'll call the office. That happens. Some kids' homes are so horrific. 100%, Nona. You have no idea. Well, you do, because it is horrible. Jenna, you're a colleague, so everything you say is always on point. I answered Jenna. Alishan, let me know. Yes, do so. I'll be at the picnic at the CCY, so that'll be cool. Thank you, Tommy. Nice to see you. If you want an example of how little teachers are valued, the Louisiana government just vetoed a bill that would pay teachers for any work outside of contracted out. Son of a bitch. Just disgusting. Just disgusting. Disgusting. Just disgusting. I said, oh my God, stop lying. I said something about your Cali, George, correct Nano Guatemala guy over here. He said, I never say anything nice about him.
You don't.
I just said about his artistic work.
That it was shit. That's what you said.
I said it was the shit. It was awesome, amazing. Oh my
Amazing
God.
big shit.
You know what? I know where you live. You live in Florida. You live in Florida. I'm going to get a gator up your ass. Yeah, that's what you're going to get. But again, the biggest battles teachers face every day is money.
Yes.
Yeah, the union sent out a survey about how do I feel about certain things about the district? And I answered as honestly as I could. I said the number one issue that we have is teachers are experienced teachers. I corrected myself. Experienced teachers are not getting the pay raises they have earned.
Well,
Number
here's the
one.
thing. Here's the one thing that's
New teachers, those that started last year, example, who have no education whatsoever, started at $48,000. When I started, I was at $22,000. They're getting $26,000 more and they have no experience. So the dynamics of that is proportionally wrong. So it's really important to value the experience, the education, the experience, and also the qualification. In other words, you know who's the best judge of a teacher's quality? It's not a test.
I don't know, the students, I guess.
It's the student.
Yeah.
It's the student. When the students are given a choice, right? Now, who's your favorite teacher? That's not what I'm talking about favorites. I'm saying, and ask the question, what did you learn? Write me a little essay about what did you learn in my classroom. That's my last test for them. Tell me what you liked about what you learned. What did you learn? Oh, he's in Peru. Oh my God, Guatemala is like in a different country, in a different section of the world.
Yeah,
it's Peruvian.
That's
how much I pay attention to you. Anyway, when a student writes an essay about what was beneficial for them in the classroom, and they take it, and before they submit it, they'll take it to another teacher. It's really fun.
Well, and here's the one thing that always blew my mind when it came to the teaching profession. It's the only career that I know where you are, the minimum way you're going to become a teacher is to get a BA. And then most teachers have their master's. Yes. But yet, if you compare their wages compared to other people with the same education outside of that field, there's no comparison. That to me was always the mind blower. How the hell do you have some of the more educated people in the field that are in charge of molding the youth of the future,
the world?
And you're still
molding the world, the future,
and you're still paying them some of the lowest wage. That has never ever made sense to me.
Yet you read what Jenna just said. They vetoed giving them pay raises in Louisiana. One of the I think Louisiana is lower than Florida. Florida is number 58, 48 in the nation. Louisiana and Mississippi are even below that. So, and here's my biggest fight that I always have talking about that particular issue of education. I have a degree in English and I have a degree in a bachelor's degree in English and drama. My master's is in ESOL and my doctorate is in education. So all of a sudden, these teachers of civics, can I pull your kid out of your drama class because they need to take a test and they need to study for this? And I'm like, yeah. When's the test? Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry. No. You should have prepared them since August for that test. And then they'll write, oh, come on. All the other electives, they send their students gym, physical education, and elective is not the same as drama, where the kids need to be in a group rehearsing for a performance. Gym, you can grab a ball or several balls, any type of balls you like, and go play with them anywhere you want. Got it? Drama, you and I got to do a scene together, and you got to go take a test. And how am I going to rehearse this scene? By myself? We have to rehearse it together. So I took that to the principal, who is phenomenal, and he goes, you're right. Your particular elective is not like every other elective. You're working with a group of dynamics. In physical education, they're just running around playing with balls. In art, they're drawing individually, unless they have a mural to put together. So I feel, that teachers need to be fed knowledge. Just because we understand that the school is graded by a civics course doesn't mean you're going to downgrade my course. You can suck my left nut, okay, before you think you can downgrade my preparation compared to yours. That's the biggest fight I've had.
Yeah, and
nothing is more important than developing children.
We're dealing with saying, yeah, that's true. A lot of the first responders don't get paid very well. But the thing is, they're not required to have a BA, a master's degree, to perform those jobs. What the thing that gets me is that they're requiring all this education to be able to become a student, and rightly so. I'm not saying that should not be the case.
I agree, but it's a constant upgrade. It's a constant upgrade.
But I think
no pay raises.
Yes, the pay should reflect that, and it should be rewarded for that. And I think it should also be performance based. And it's so frustrating to see it that a lot of teachers get also handicapped because they're not allowed to really be teachers. And Jenna mentioned too, there's a lot of red tape. There's so much red, but that's just in most most services.
Yes, right. Public service.
Yeah, where you're going to have that bureaucracy that you have to deal with. It's unfortunate, but I don't know.
It's not just unfortunate, because that's the go-to thing. To me is, and I said this to you earlier this afternoon, is when bad shit goes down or bad shit's you need to speak up. You need to call out those horrors. And you got not just in words, but in action, in your vote. Go to the committees, have the argument live, because we cannot allow politics to manage everything. That 1984 Big Brother picture, no, that's not acceptable. Not acceptable. Do we need laws? Oh, yeah, we do. And we have a constitution. We're America. We're an amazing country because of our laws, not in spite of our laws. And I think that if we were to really embrace knowledge and the exploration of it all, to me, and I'll go and say something really weird, but to me, I prefer that the sanitation and janitorial people get paid more money than the president of the United States. Because those people who go to these toilets in public schools to clean them daily, several times a day, they deserve more pay. I'm sorry. But sanitation, and I'm talking about health-wise, that's where it starts. Someone wipes it down, cleans it up. Someone goes to use it, cleans it up. And teach your kids how to flush. Teach your kids how to wash their hands. We just went through a pandemic. We need to embrace the changes that we went through in order to become better and healthier people.
But that whole teaching kids how to flush, that should not be on the educational system. That needs to start from home.
But George, it is. It is all on us. It is all on us. Sorry, but it is. Yeah. You know how many students, how many kids, let's say it, how many kids come into my classroom with the same shirt and the same outfit every day, because their parents have no money to buy them new clothes. So luckily, we have enough to share. And when I notice that, I call the counselor up. Hey, necesito ropa. I need clothes and I need shoes. And here's the size. Get them to me. And then I'll send the kid over to counseling before the end of the period and let him, you know, change, do whatever. But we're lucky that we have it. Imagine those that don't have those resources. It's horrible. I think that one of our biggest life disappointments is how, not because I am an educator, but because throughout the years, my expertise or my knowledge have been shared freely to my students, but I've had to go through a second job, working extra, just to manage my bills. So, you know, now,
well, and that's the other thing that goes
almost
that
age
goes
60 and almost 30 years in the profession.
and that's the other thing that goes unsaid is I and I know this from experience is all the extra hours. Teaching is not from when the classroom opens and the bell rings.
Far from it. Correct.
I don't know how many times I had to grade papers in the evening because I needed to get them done because they needed to get a result back. And that is it's just so bad. It's so ridiculous. You have teachers buying their own supplies because the school can't afford to buy the supplies, but yet the administration is getting rid. There's something that's so backwards with what we're doing that it's not. It's frustrating. It's infuriating because it shouldn't be like that. And especially when you see the government bail out banks that mismanage their own money.
That stole their own money, the client's money. Oh my God, yes.
But yet we can't afford to buy the minimal supplies that students need. You have teachers that are paying out of their own pocket to make sure that their students, and you're not the only one. It seems like every teacher that I know,
all of us,
at one point had to buy paper and pencils at the bare minimum. At the bare minimum.
Okay, I'm gonna do a stream just to say, oh, this is a school supply stream, and here's the Amazon account. Here are the things that the kids need, and go buy them and send them to the school for me, because it is friggin' amazing. Oh my God, how much we spend on pencils, pens, paper, clippings, staplers, tape, glue, crayons, all this kind of stuff, because they keep cutting the budget. Whose budget? And no raises, but they keep cutting the budget for the schools. So, and then, one of the things that is beneficial, especially when you have a math class, is copies. You can't copy a whole book. You got to only little sections. They've removed so many books out of the learning process. Now it's a new program, which we got to go in early for training. I already got a friggin' email. There's a new program coming in, and they give you one book, one student book, one handbook, and then that one handbook is the one that you have to have multiple thousands of copies made out of. And yet you're giving 5 reams of paper. Like, that's going to last you what? You got 60 kids? Really? Come on.
You're teaching 4 classes, 5 classes?
Oh, please. And then the thing is, I do a PowerPoint presentation. I'll put it on the board so that they can copy it on their computer, right? That takes time. Or I'll put it on Canvas. Hey, go there and go do it there. Just to cut down on the printed paper. Why? I like trees, number one. And if we can do it on the computer, do it on the computer. The document is self-read, is self-plagiarized. It corrects itself AI, and it makes it easier for me. But if 60 kids put in their work in one day, you think I'm going to be able to do that in the 45-minute planning period that I have that day? No. Yeah. That's where I'll come here at night, click in, read like I'm reading chat, Go down the chat. Yep, yep, nope. Okay, yep, nope. Okay, yep, yep, nope. All right, mistake there, mistake. By the time I'm done, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Who paid for that?
Nobody.
Yeah. So it's like that. It's like that.
All
It's
right.
a it's a it's an injustice.
Yes,
Just
it is.
not to say another word. It's an injustice.
Well, and here's the thing, though. Here's the other thing where, and I think this not just in the education system, but in general. Um, and this has to do, but I understand why the news does this because they're in the business of. But you never hear the
The media, you
excellent
mean?
teachers, the excellent teachers being celebrated for the above and beyond that they're going for. The only time you hear about a teacher in the news is the one that is doing the things they're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
that's the only time.
Negativity comes up first.
Yes.
Then maybe.
But then they make it seem like it's almost an epidemic, that problem, when in reality it's 1 in a million cases that it happens, or well, not in a million, but it's not. It's far few in between.
Far few in between.
But you never hear.
One more point: you're letting people in that you're not vetting properly. You're hiring people you're not vetting properly because you need a body in the classroom.
Yeah,
that's your number one issue. But that's one of a billion issues in setting that up. So, we had one fired, a doctorate in science, in languages, fired, because he actually said to a girl, 7th grader, she was putting on, what's he called, eyelashes? She was putting on eyelashes, and he said something about her looks and doing that, and adding makeup onto her face. And they reported he knew he was older than I was, or I am, but he knew that's a no-no, and he still went there. He didn't wait to get fired. He resigned, but he was going to get fired. And a doctorate degree teacher, not a regular teacher. He was hired he wasn't an educational teacher. He was just a doctorate in languages, but he was teaching science, and said the wrong comment to the young girl, who, by the way, is a pretty nice person. The only makeup she had is she would put eyelashes because she felt that she didn't have enough eyelashes in her eyes.
Well, regardless of why she was doing it,
there's no excuse of ever making a negative comment about a person's looks. So that's that.
But switching in gears a little bit, this is something I always wanted to know about you. Where does the hobby come into play for your life? At what point do you go and finally decide, okay, this is what I want to do?
It all started in 4th grade. I've said this before. My 4th grade teacher gifted my friend Kevin and I black mollies, fry mollies, because we took care of the 2 turtles during the winter break. So I had 4 little black mollies in a fishbowl, and she told us what to do. Take some water out, put some water in, let the water, put it in a glass, put the water in a glass of water and let it set, and then take some out and then put the same amount in so you're not shocking the fish. Yeah. That was the first teaching. But then I won some goldfish in a circus, and those where wicked people are, clowns and all that. Oh God, what are they called? Carnivals. And I got 2 goldfish. So I put them with the mollies. And so I had them for a while. Then later in life, I went to get a job. And the first job that I applied to was a pet shop. I was 14 years old, and I had to be 15 to start work. So Renee, my boss, hired me anyway because she noticed how much I loved the fish and all that kind of stuff. I already had a couple of aquariums at home, but they were just like for looks. Because after that, I always kept fish. But having an aquarium and then having so many bettas in my bedroom, in in uh in Tupperware bowls and all that stuff. I did all that. The hobby really came to be a part of my life at about age 15
Okay.
to present. But it increased, literally, it kept increasing. At one time I had about 75 tanks. And I'm like, no more. I bring it down. So when I bought this house, I said, I'm setting up my tanks again, my multiple tanks. And that's what I did. So I set different rooms with different tanks. And then I started on the lanai and the pond in the back. So I would say about 40, 45 years I've been in this hobby doing what I've been doing.
So at
And
what?
I've been through every fish you can think of, including
Yeah.
saltwater. So I've tested it all.
So
Most.
how did you stumble onto YouTube and the fish fam? How did you stumble into fish fam, or not
Um,
fish fam, but the hobby, the community?
Here on YouTube, it all started with Kevin. That's his name. Meet Kevin. It was all about finances and stuff.
Okay.
And he's still on. He lives in California. He ran for a district there. Anyway, and on one of the, the little, when you're watching, it showed a little thingy majig. And I saw Coral G, Coral 12G.
Oh, okay.
And I clicked on it. And that's how I learned about the Fish Fam YouTube. And that was 3 years ago.
Okay.
3 years ago, 2020, during 2020.
Okay.
And but the thing is, I have been watching him since he was a kid on YouTube, but I didn't realize it was YouTube. It was a channel or anything.
Yeah.
Didn't realize all this could be live. It was just a tape. Like, he would tape it, put it on, and I would watch it on that stuff. And I never was a member. I wasn't going to pay for that. And then the pandemic hit, and then YouTube became part of my life. And then the Fish Fam and all the wonderful people that I've been close with and connected with, not necessarily close physically, but close in hobby thoughts and our passion for our fish and our ideas being shared equally throughout the our world. Considering the auctions that we've been sharing, I've had the idea of always having, can I get fish from you? You want fish from me, and sharing it that way.
Yeah.
So the auction brought that up, which is freaking awesome. And then there's also that connectivity where we go through crap. We get a crash tank. It's happened to me here on this particular tank in front of me, where lightning killed the tank. Lightning killed one species in that tank. So everything is about the experience. I remember, I still talk about this, when Dee Dee's 90-gallon tank crashed, and all the trials and tribulations she went to try to make it better, and her learning through her experience and shared that experience with us. It all endeared us so much more to the embracing of what we do for our fish in our world, in their glass box. There's also assholes out there as well, which you literally just filter through the system.
Yeah.
But
What?
there, to me, being in the hobby, immersed for so long, and still learning new things all the time. I mean, I was just telling Dee Dee, that I've changed the filters to Owazi, not because they're the best, but because they're silent. You don't hear them. There's 4 tanks around you and behind me, and you don't hear any of that. And I'm not wearing my thingamajig.
Yeah, that's why I got these now, is because my room's are so
because
loud.
the sound and all the water, the filters are going, but you don't hear it. And I think that's what you got to understand. Everything is, as an educator, before I'm an educator, I'm a learner. I'm a life learner. I've always wanted to learn more and more and more and more and more. So whenever something the new thing that I'm learning is Moina. Imperial Aquatics was doing it, and Richard Reynolds has Moina going galore. And so that's the new feeding thing that I'm going to. So everything is a learning experience. And it's live food. And let me tell you, George, every fish loves Moina. There's no choice. That thing is good for fry because they're real, real, real small, and they're good for all the fish. Excellent. Better than brine shrimp. So, and again, I'm a lifelong learner, and that's how I'm going to stay. You know, if someone says to me that's an ignorant thought,
No.
no. Someone they have people say, okay, that's an ignorant thought. Well, I don't know the answer. Ignorance not a bad word. Ignorance just mean
Well,
I
no,
don't
no.
know.
My take on that is the minute you stop learning is the minute you no longer living. Period.
Thank you. I say this: the moment I stop learning, I want to die so that I can go to the next life and learn something new, because I'm done with this life.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. Welcome back, Be Wiz Yule. I didn't know you were gone, you white Caucasian non-Paul dancer. And he's still
Yeah, him and Eddie, I guess, had stepped out, and we've been going on for almost 2 hours.
No, we haven't.
Yeah,
Almost. Okay.
yeah, almost.
Wow. Is that why my gut hurts?
Probably.
Like it
You
hurts
probably need
like
to go.
right here.
You
And I
probably
still
need to-
got a pack.
Well,
I
that's
leave
right,
at
you're-
3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that could be a good point to wrap it up. Um, just because I know you have so much to do, and I know I know with you, it's one of those things where if I don't say here, we'll be on here all day because
we
that's
didn't
the
even
way
talk
our
plants. So
no, we
that's
didn't
another
really talk
thing.
a whole lot. Like I said, those conversations we've had back and forth, and we've had them on other streams. There was the other stuff that we don't get to talk on other people's streams that I really wanted to get into. And I know education is one of those things that is so much of who you are because you've been doing it for so long that I figured that was going to probably be an area where we're going to spend the bulk of the time talking about. And it's one of those subjects that could go on forever too because it's just there's so
it's
much
so
stuff.
intense. It's intense, and it's just too many points. But thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for inviting me. And I will be in Pennsylvania tomorrow with my sister and her family. Well, my family. And I'll be Saturday with my sister at the oh my God, what is it called? Cichlid Club of York. I'll be there at the picnic. And Alishan, I'll catch up with you while I'm there as well. And Jason has my number in case, or you can just send me an email because I'll be there for a week. It's a family gathering because my baby sister is going to become a grandmother. I will, Dee Dee. She goes, tell Minerva hi. She's going to become a grandmother for the first time. And her youngest daughter, who is 30, she'll be coming. And her grandmother will also be coming, my sister's mother, my mother, and my younger brother, and the two nurses, my nephew and his wife, will also be coming. They're in Puerto Rico. They'll be joining us for the family gathering, which is, hey, it's all of us that are left.
Yeah.
I mean, we got like 30-something nephews and nieces, but at least for my sister, that's all that matters there. And, you know, I have family in Lancaster as well. But family's family, but you keep your good friends close.
Yeah.
And your really good family closer. And then those that are not good family and you're not your friends, just keep them as far as possible from your life because you don't need them. And all they do is suck you dry anyway. I call those plecos. So anyway. But yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you very much, chat, for joining. Make sure you hit the like button and support every single one of the Fish Fam members that come on and say hello and spew their guts and give their opinions, because sometimes people need to be heard and some people need to talk.
And I
Thank you so much.
Be Wiz for
Super chatting you.
Yeah, I haven't done any. I wasn't, to be honest, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I wasn't planning on doing super chats or any of that stuff or memberships. But YouTube kind of
Do
pushes
it.
that so much that they harass you about it that I've done it, but with the expectation of never really doing any of that stuff. Because one, I don't feel like I engage the chats very much because I've never really done that. I try to focus more on who I'm having here as a guest or what the topic is. And I know that I shouldn't do that because everybody here is used to having being part of the stream. I'm guilty. I'm even not only here, I do tend to do that also on Fish Fancy Mas where I'm more focused on what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to the information I'm trying to put out. I need to learn how to manage that. And maybe down the road I'll figure out a little video. But see, I don't like being hokey.
Exactly.
And that, it's one of those. I know everybody makes a funny little video, and that's fine. That's their choice. And it's not that I'm a prude or I'm serious or anything like that. It's just I don't feel like gimmicks are a part of me. I mean, that's just me though.
That's part of your personality,
But
Say
I do
thank
have
you, and that's it. Move on.
Yeah, I do have some. I'll come up with something where
Well,
I
you
do
can
have to
always
acknowledge because it is. I don't. Not that I don't appreciate it. It's very
correct.
highly
You
appreciated, but it's not needed.
exactly.
I just you being here and in the chat and doing the stuff that doesn't cost money to show support, which is hit the like, the share or subscribe or whatever
Right.
whatever minimum stuff that YouTube wants to do. That's all I really need. I don't need anything else other than that.
Yeah.
And but that's just that's just me. But again, I want to thank everybody that's still with us for an hour and 45 minutes and hung out with us. Hopefully, not only did I walk away with getting to know Eduardo a little bit better and how he believes, but hopefully you were able to share in that experience. And that's really what I want to do. And like I said, I'm total transparency. Yes, I am being selfish because it's really for me, but I'm willing to share that with you if you're interested in learning from them. So with that said, thank you, Eduardo. And obviously, this is not the last time we'll be here. There'll be other times. And I do feel that we need to do this one in Spanish, and it could be on something different.
Oh yeah.
But because I am trying to, I have that ability to serve that side of the community, and I want to really incorporate it. I saw a couple of people jump on here that follow me because I do
the Spanish section, yeah.
And it's only right that I do that.
Well, we could have done it in a trilingual. We could have talked English, Spanish, and fish.
Yeah,
we got the language down.
But I think you will be seeing if you jump on here. Don't be surprised if I'm going full blown Spanish because it'll be somebody that I have as a guest that either one doesn't speak English or two, where it's just a nice treat to be able to do it in Spanish because you can.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
But thank you guys. It is my day off, and my wife is waiting for me to go run some errands, and she's already granted me almost 2 hours. So I got to thank her.
I came before the wife. I feel honored. Thank you. Say hi for me. And how's your orchids doing? We'll talk about that another time.
Oh, that's a sad story, but yes.
All right. Cool. Have a good one. Bye, guys. Thank you very much for joining us.